Hey guys, what's going on? It's Akira Ari Mayy J here. Back with you for another video. I hope you all enjoyed the life update. It was hella long. Didn't expect it to be that long. But anyways, thanks for joining me in Mayflower Army. Before I get started, hit the like button if you liked the video, or just in general, just give me a thumbs up. Leave some feedback down below. I love reading comments. Share on social media with all your friends. And last but not least, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video just like this one. By the way, if you wonder what I'm in the car with my brother. So this video is a horror story about backwater reptiles. And I talked about my life update about the snakes I have. Well, after Cairo came in November, I started doing some research. Like I was going through Facebook one day and I found a site about like ordering snakes online. Like I knew like you could order snakes online, but like I didn't really know like much about it. So I kind of started looking into like ordering snakes from online, and I stumbled upon a site called Backwater Reptiles. And I should have done more research on it. I mean, I did some research on it and I watched some videos and I found good and bad. So I was like, oh, it's kind of like anything. Like you're just gonna find, with everything you're gonna find good reviews and bad reviews. Like movies and just restaurants, and I know it's the same with like online reptile sites. So I found Backwater Reptiles, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And so the order I originally placed was, I ordered two Florida green snakes, or rough green snakes, whichever you prefer to call them, a Brazilian rainbow boa, and I don't remember what type it was. It was some sort of rat snake. But they emailed me back and told me that every snake I ordered was out of stock. So they, after going back and forth, we eventually settled on, they sent me two sunbeam snakes, or they were sending me two sunbeam snakes, a ribbon snake, and a hatchling Everglades rat snake. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess. So the snakes came in the mail, and from the get-go, you could tell something wasn't right with some of the snakes. The Everglades rat snake was the only one. Everglades rat snake and the ribbon snake were the only two that were eating regularly. And both sunbeam snakes, one of them came with scale rot, and at the time I didn't really know what it was until I started doing some research and talking to my friends like Dog Jungle and talking to some local vets, and found out that scale rots, I found out like what scale rot was. And unfortunately I found out a little too late. One of the sunbeam snakes, who I named Moonstone, unfortunately ended up passing away. That was about a week and a half after they had arrived. And it was first heartbreak, because sunbeam snakes, if you've ever seen them, there'll be videos at the end, there'll be pictures at the end of all the snakes that unfortunately passed away due to the neglect of Backwater Reptiles. Sunbeam snakes are some of the most beautiful and iridescent snakes you will ever come across. They literally look at, when there's no light shining on them, they're just like a silvery color, but the second any sort of light hits them, they are rainbow and iridescence. They are so beautiful. And it was so sad seeing such a young light, such a beautiful little life lost due to neglect. And I'll explain how scale rot's caused. Scale rot's caused by a dirty enclosure, and for one, I don't know how anyone could let their snake's enclosure get filthy to the point where their reptile starts to develop like scale rots. Like it has to be a pretty dirty enclosure in order for it to develop scale rots. And like it drives me crazy if there's even a little bit of snake poop in one of my snake's enclosures, let alone letting it to the point where there's scale rots. And like sunbeam snakes, they're imported from Asia, so like they're not like a captive bred species. They're imported from Asia. And so like even if they would have come over from Asia with scale rots, they still could have treated them, done something to help them, but no, they just decided to sell them. And when I say she had scale rot, I mean like there were pustules and blisters all over her body, and it was sad. My brother actually came over and did a photo shoot of like my snakes, and maybe about an hour and a half later is whenever I found her, she had passed away. So that was the first heartbreak from Backwater Reptiles. The second was on New Year's Eve. I was at work, and I left work in the morning, and my snakes at the time were eating on, I think it was like Saturdays or so. I don't remember when New Year's was. When was New Year's this year? Do you remember what day? It was on a Monday. So I left for work, And I came back. My snake, the baby Everglades rat snake, had just eaten. Her name was Jade. She had just eaten, I think it was like a day before. And I came home and she was dead. She was like sitting in a corner like she was still alive. So I was like, okay. She wasn't moving. So I went in her cage to pick her up and she was stiff as a board, unfortunately. So, I mean, sometimes hatchlings don't make it, but it's too coincidental that none of the snakes in Backwater Reptiles made it, and that's a spoiler for the end of the video. I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But so then the next snake that passed away was unfortunately the other sunbeam snake in January. I started treating him for the scale rots because he had started to develop it, or she. Sorry, there was a male and a female sunbeam snake. The male was moonstone, and the female was Serpente arcobaleno, and what that means is just a rainbow snake in Italian, from my Italian heritage. And the scale rot started developing, getting pretty bad, so I started doing a betadine soak, or betadine soak, whichever you prefer to pronounce it. And that's just, like, it's for, like, burns and whatnot in humans, but, like, in snakes, it's used to, like, clear, like, any sort of, like, scale condition, like fungus under the scale rots. And just like if a snake gets like bit by a rat, or like your snake's getting in a fight, if you cohabitate them, then like you soak them in betadine to help like prevent infection or help heal or clear infection. That's recommended. My local pet store is one who recommended it to me. They're the ones who helped me with that after I took her in to see them. So I started doing a scale rot soak, and fortunately, after doing about a week and a half of soaking, I came home one day and found her just shriveled up. She unfortunately didn't make it. So that was the third heartbreak from Backwater Reptiles. The fourth one, Ebony, she was the sole survivor at this point. She made it until I think it was end of February, beginning of March. She was, if you know what ribbon snakes are, they eat like crickets and like small frogs, and like I had her on a cricket diet and she was eating fine. But the night before, Thursday night, she started not acting right. She was very, very limp, very slumpy, she was usually very energetic. She was usually zipping all over her terrarium, but she wasn't right. So then on Friday, I look in her cage and I see her suffering. Unfortunately, you could tell what's going on. You could tell she was fading away. And fortunately, later that afternoon, she faded to black. She passed away. So the moral of the story is, anyone who ever thinks about ordering a snake from online, do tons and tons and tons of research. I did research, but unfortunately not enough. But still, lack of research isn't all it comes down to. It's a huge part on Backwater Reptiles. I'm not using slander towards you guys, but the fact that you could call yourselves reptile experts or animal lovers or any sort of animal anything is a crock of shit. You caused me so much heartbreak, and I know I've watched several others who I watched other videos on YouTube where people were unboxing their animals and they unboxed them dead. And that's pretty much what I did, because you pretty much sent me 4 snakes that were on their way to a coffin. And you guys you caused me so much heartbreak. For each snake, it was just worse and worse and worse. And if I ever order from online again, I'm going to be very leery because of you guys. So, anyone who comes across this video, avoid Backwater Reptiles at all costs. Spread the word, share this video with anybody who's thinking about ordering a snake from online. You hear mention Backwater Reptiles. If you find this video, do not do it. Save yourself the heartbreak, save yourself the wasted money. Buying a snake in the pet trade and adding to your snake collection should never be a waste of money. Unfortunately, Backwater Reptiles made me feel like it was, because all they caused me was 4 times the heartbreak and $200 in wasted funds. So, yeah, just avoid Backwater Reptiles, everyone. This is my horror story.
Glorious! No, I won't give in, I won't give in till I'm victorious.